Hello and welcome back everyone to Master Game Design, Unreal Engine 5 Stylized Environment and Third Person Blueprint course. In the last lesson we left ourselves off with setting a nice foliage section within this area. We might even add this one, these parts over here, but actually the island is so far off that I'm not going to be concerned in regards to that. And yeah, so moving on, we're going to go ahead and add some foliage on to our city itself just to liven it up a little bit. We're going to grab one of the plants that we want. For example, I'm going to still keep it static meshes. We're going to find the type that we want, so maybe I'll just grab this tree over here. Actually, this is a little too small. I'm going to grab a bit of a larger tree. This one over here, maybe still a little bit too small. Maybe this one over here. Yeah, there you go. This one is a little bit too... I don't like it because it was a little bit too offset and it was going to be hard to place that on in the city. Or alternatively, what I can do is just I can grab this one over here and I can just make it quite a bit larger. It's going to be quite okay. I quite like this overall shape because it keeps a nice curvature while at the same time it's not too offset in regards to the spacing of this area. The next one that I like to do is just I'm going to grab a small plant for this and we're going to set it up as a plant pot. Then what we're going to do is we're just going to, well, also I'm going to grab one of these bushes over here. You'll see why in a minute. And I'm going to go onto the content browser, going to just tick off the static mesh, just make sure that this is ticked off now. Going to go into Egyptian stylized props, meshes, and we're going to search for a pot. So let's go ahead and see what we can find. Maybe we're going to be able to make use out of this over here. That looks like a nice pot for the tree. And the other one might be a different one, maybe like a basket or something of the sort. Basket would also work quite well. So let's go ahead and make use out of it. Okay, so for the combinations, it's going to be quite simple. We're going to place this in a pot, just like that. We might work with the size a little bit, maybe a little bit smaller since it is growing in a pot, just like that. And now the next thing that we need to be concerned is basically going to be that this pot is actually empty. We don't have any dirt or anything of the sort. So in order to just hide that fact, to make sure that it's not quite as visible, I'm just going to grab this bush and just put it inside like so. I'm going to just expand them on X and Y axis so it wouldn't look like it's growing too tall upwards. And just by doing it like so, it might work out for us in regards to making it look like it just has a bit of a extra depth underneath those plant sections. And yeah, this looks quite alright. Let's go ahead and move on to this part. For this one, I'm just going to just plunk it down in here like so. And it actually has roots, I believe. I'm not quite sure about the roots. I'm going to go back onto the section for this and grab the one without roots. This one over here. Yeah, this one over here looks much nicer. I'm going to go ahead and grab it. It already has like all the animations and everything set up, so it's quite actually easy for me to work with it. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger and maybe this this basket smaller like so, so it looks like a nice type of a plant, just like that. Maybe I'll just grab a duplicate out of it and just kind of squish it downwards a little bit again, kind of hide the fact that there's nothing underneath, like so. I'll just do it like this, kind of hiding it, just like that. Going to take off the grid lock a little bit, have a little bit of an extra control, and I think this looks, yeah, this looks quite alright. Okay, let's go ahead and make use out of it. So first of all, we're going to go ahead and select this. We're going to go to, actually we're going to keep this blueprint over here, so I'm going to make sure I'm in a Pandamus folder. I'm going to select this. And then I'm going to go ahead and convert this to a blueprint with harvested components. Go ahead and click select. And there we go. We're going to get ourselves a nice setup. Let's go ahead and select them all. Going to go to the front view and just bring it upwards like this so it would sit nicely at its base. Just like that. All right. The next one is going to be this one over here. Go ahead and make use out of it. Select all of its parts. Convert this to a blueprint. Harvest components, select, and again we're going to do the same thing as we did before, just like that. bringing it upwards, a bit like so. Close it down, and there we go. We got ourselves a nice couple of setups for the blueprint of these plants. So now we can make use out of it and actually bring some life into this area. We're going to go ahead and just play around with the setup, grab some palm trees and whatnot in these sections. We place one over here. Well, looks quite nice. I quite like these ones actually, so I'm going to go ahead and place them a little bit extra. And then we got to concern ourselves with the smaller ones as well. So let's just continue on with these ones. This area on the upper hand looks quite nice, and I might need to actually raise these up. I just noticed that they were stuck in the ground. Go ahead and fix that up real quick. This area I'll just place one like so. Look quite nice overall. Also help to break up the roof section a little bit. And I'll just make it face a little bit to the side. So this area, maybe we can add an extra over to the side like that, and we don't need to overdo it, so I think I'm going to go ahead and keep it as is. I don't like how this is set up. Maybe I'll just try to shun it down a little bit more in a corner, and it is in quite a bit of a shadow over here, but all in all I quite like how they're being placed symmetrically a little bit. Maybe that's not needed, and I'm not quite sure. I'm going to go ahead and leave it as is, and I will place a couple of plant pots over on this section, maybe even make them a little bit larger, like so, just to make them look nicer. I'm going to actually make a duplicate out of this since I already rescaled this one, and we're going to have some nice type of a look. Might even consider about placing them on here. Really depends on the perception, to be honest, and I don't quite like this, to be honest, so I'll just go ahead and just drag this downwards like so. That's going to be looking quite alright. And yeah, maybe putting these plant pots on the side of houses as well. Going to be quite alright. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Maybe in some areas like this. Just a bit of greenery within the setup, basically. Like so. I'm going to click, I think, free. Yeah, there you go. Throw an extra setup. Quite nice. Over here we could probably put a plant pot, or actually a couple of them, like so. Going to rotate them a little bit to make sure they look more randomized, and maybe even make them a little bit bigger. They look quite small. There you go. Something like that perhaps. Like this area maybe needs something. This area for sure needs a plant pot. The reason being is just it goes outwards into emptiness, and it just helps to break off this balcony, since we also have a balcony underneath, which is actually carried down by sand. And I'm not going to fix that though, because that actually kind of looks cool in a way. Just blast it on with the sand, and I think I like that area. This section I could just put it over here. I think that's going to be quite alright as well. And yeah, just by playing around, because this is more of an urban section, it's going to be quite alright. In this area, however, you'd want to perhaps set it up a little bit more. But there seems to be a hole missing. I'm not sure what's happened there. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened here, to be honest. Might have moved it by accident or something of the sort. I'm just going to go ahead and place it back into it like so. Not sure why that was the case. But anyways, I'm gonna now put some plants over here as well. I'm going to grab a couple of them in a free manner. I'm going to make it look a little bit more orderly, since this is more of an expensive type of a hut. This section, maybe we can put it over here like so. And yeah, it really depends on the setup for yourself, but I recommend you not overdoing with the plants, just making sure you place it in some more of tactical areas overall, just to make sure that it looks a little bit nicer. So for example, this section over here, I will actually add plants over here. The reason being is that when we do the climbing as a character, when the player does the climbing, it's going to go through this area, and this roof looks a little bit flat, a little bit empty, that is. So we gotta make it look like it's a little bit maintained in regards to that. That's why I'm just planting some flowers over here, making it look centered a little bit more. Maybe I'll offset it even, actually. So just like that. And I think that will look quite alright actually. We might even grab them and put it up to the other side. That would also look quite nice. But I don't, yeah, these are getting in the way, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and just remove them like so. But I think these plants over here are going to look quite nice. All in all, actually I'm going to check by clicking C. I'm going to see how they look like from a different angle. And yeah, I'll keep them as is. I think they look quite nice. Maybe a plant over here as well. I'm going to go ahead and just plant one like so. Just to kind of help us break this down a little bit. Like that. And yeah, I think we're done with the overall setup. So we're pretty much done with in regards to the environment setup. We got ourselves a couple of areas. We thought about the overall mechanics a little bit whilst building it. One more thing that we should do is going to be real quick. We're just going to grab everything and place everything in the gray box itself. The reason being is that we don't want this to be visible. We got the entire city set up, we don't want all of these assets to be in just a normal level. So let's go ahead and grab everything out. I'm going to do it really simply though. I'm going to go to the outliner, or actually I'm going to go to the top down section, pick F, and just grab everything that's outside of our level, which is going to be this one over here. Just grabbing everything like so. Just realize that the persistent level was not locked in, so just making sure that it is locked in. Now we can go ahead and grab everything like so. Clicking F, making sure that all of these parts are selected, going to right click and move it onto, move selected actors to the level like so. So hopefully that'll move everything out. And there we go. We're now going to click Control Shift and S to save everything out. We're going to lock the gray box. We're going to hide it out of the way. And we're just left with the level itself.